Hey everybody, Steve Borey here from the Jackpot Gents and also the American Casino Guidebook. And today I'm here with my son, Matt Borey, who is also one of the Jackpot Gents, and joining us as a special guest. Matt, can you say what's going on today?
How's it going, everybody? And we're doing another Las Vegas casinos update today. We have our longtime friend Anthony Curtis here today. He is the head honcho over at Huntington Press and the Las Vegas Advisor. How you doing today, Anthony?
Doing good, Jackpot Gents. I can't call you guys Matt and Steve anymore. You're the JGs.
All right. So I guess we'll hop right into things. So how is business going in Vegas? I hear it's booming, yes?
Well, thank God we've gotten out of what we were in. I mean, it started with Formula One, which was an absolute, just a gross couple of months, leading up to that for the people of Vegas, because they had to redo all the streets. They were shut down all over the place. We changed the name from Sin City to Cone City. I mean, it's just absolutely brutal. I've never seen so many cones on the road. And we get through Formula One and everything's like starting to settle down. And then what happens? Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So all these things have been really good for the city. I mean, they're doing amazing business out there, but it's been tough on the locals, mostly because of traffic snarls and things. We're finally, kind of cooling down a little bit. And now we got March Madness coming, so that's cool too.
Now for that Formula One, that's going to be an annual event now?
Oh God, don't remind me.
Uh-huh.
Don't remind me. Yeah, it's 10 years, man. We got 9 more to go. Actually, they're saying that the worst of it was this time because they had to redo all of the roads that on the race course. They had to repave it, and they're not going to have to do that every year apparently. Now there's going to be other disruptions and things. Businesses had a hard time with things. There's a lot of um, angst, I guess, from the locals over this thing. And we will be dealing with it for another 9 years here. But I guess it brought in, hundreds of millions to the city, apparently.
From what I heard, it was very good for the high end of the city, but for the low end of the mid to low end of the city, for everybody else, the everyman, I heard it wasn't very good.
Well, you nailed it. I mean, you right there, you nailed it. And that's where the discontent is that the rich got richer big time. I mean, all the big casinos that were along the race course, the MGMs and the Caesars and all of those did extraordinarily well. And others who are, in that hierarchy did really well. The rest of it, smaller businesses, took it on the noggin, and the locals got tired of it pretty quick too. All of everything for them and nothing for us, sort of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. That's the way it was summed up.
Yeah, because I heard that they had like promised that all the locals would be able to buy cheap tickets, right? And then it would ended up being it wasn't even to the main race; it was like just to a practice day or something like that, right?
Yeah, they had some cheap, sort of cheap tickets that some people were to get. I forget what they were. Actually they were cheap. I think they may have been $100, but there were only a few of those on sale, and they were for the sessions only. And then when there was supposed to be a qualifying race that was part of it, it got canceled because somebody hit a there was a flaw in
Oh,
the
that's
Oh, he ripped the manhole cover off,
Mhm.
right?
exactly. And then so they canceled it and everybody was sent home. No refunds, no anything, no comeback later, no rain checks. It's just you paid your money, get the hell out of here. And then people were pissed.
Yeah, yeah, I don't blame
Yeah.
Hey, I was pissed and I didn't even pay and go.
them.
Now, I guess this was my next note was further down the list, but I guess we'll talk about it now since we're on the subject with the Super Bowl. How did the how were things with the Super Bowl?
Much better. They really, they learned some lessons off of F1, which everybody, by the way, was changed the name from F1 to FU. But they learned a lot of lessons and they did it much better. There were a little bit of traffic snarling there, but it was worth it. The trade-off there was really probably worth it. The city was one big party. I mean, it was amazing all over. Whether you were in the stadium or out, there were tailgates everywhere. Yeah, you just could not have fun. It was a good time.
I was reading a few weeks ago that was it MGM raised their resort fees?
Everybody, Steve, they all raised their
Oh,
resort.
they all did. One goes, they all go.
Yep, MGM started it. We said, well, we all know what's going to happen next, and it came the rest of them. we just did a resort fee, survey. And I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think something like 29 out of 52 on the strip are now $50 or higher.
Wow.
$50 a night, 20, almost 60% of the hotels on the strip. So as soon as they did it at MGM, they did it at Caesars, they did it at Venetian Palazzo, they did it at Wynn Encore, and there we go, up, up, up.
What about parking? Did they raise the parking too?
They do that. They do that incrementally. They do that, at $1 and $2 at a time. And parking continues to go higher and higher. It's $20 range everywhere between 20 and 25. They just keep going until they can get as long as they can get away with it, they keep raising it. It's funny, the other day on one of our YouTube things, somebody wrote, you guys should stop making excuses for the casinos. I go, excuses for the casinos? I go, we take them to task every single time. I mean,
I was going to say, that's your thing.
I'm like, what are you reading? Who are you mixing us up with? I don't understand, but I don't like it. The customers don't like it. It's, the only way around it is going to places that they're not gouging like that. Downtown is better. And as much as I dislike some of these, quote, locals places like Station and Boyd, they're still better for parking. They're not charging for parking. They are charging high resort fees.
And now, speaking of scalping, I know last time we spoke, things were getting worse. The 000 roulette was spreading. 6-5 blackjack was spreading. Is that still the case?
Yeah, just about everywhere you go now. Like you go to you go to FontaineBleau, which just opened up on the strip, and they've got their single zero in the high limit room if you want to bet $100 to $200 a hand. They've got their 00 out on the floor, and they got their 000 out on the floor. So, almost everywhere you go. I don't think I saw, to be honest and fair, I don't think I saw a 000 at Durango when they opened, but I don't think so. They were 00 only there.
And what about?
I guess I'll take the next question, since this is more my forte. I heard they were opening cannabis lounges on the strip coming up soon. Do you have I was sort of we were scrolling through looking for headlines about Vegas on what to catch up on, and I saw stuff about cannabis lounges coming. Do you have any info on that?
Well, cannabis, the lounges, nobody can figure it out, why they can't open. I mean, to this time, they've talked about opening lounges for over 2 years. And by lounges, to clear it up, we've got dispensaries everywhere, but you can't smoke it, in public. And literally,
which includes hotel rooms.
Includes hotel rooms. Although, walk through any hotel hallway and that nobody's paying attention to that law. But it's, you cannot legally smoke it in public. And they've been talking about these lounges for going on 2 years now, where you would be able to buy it and smoke it right there. But as of now, there's only one open, and that's at the Indian Reservation. That's outside, because they're not governed by the state, the city and county rules. We keep hearing that they're coming. They were supposed to be here, in January of this year. Well, we're past January. We're almost past February, and nothing's opened yet. And nothing looks like it's going to happen around the corner, from what I can see.
Yeah, I know that. I assume the issues are probably because while it is legal in Nevada, it's still federally illegal. So I know that was always what they said, is none of the casinos ever wanted to touch it because they didn't want to risk their gambling license, since even though it's illegal in the state, it is still federally illegal.
Well, anybody who's interested, we just published a book called Weed and Loathing in Las Vegas. And it's the whole story of, it's more of a, somebody who's into smoking and doing cannabis isn't going to love this book, but people who are interested in the politics behind it would. The guy who wrote it, his name's Chris Kudialis, and one of the top experts literally in the world on this, especially the Nevada thing, and the politics behind it are just ridiculous. But anybody who, if you're interested, Weed and Loathing in Las Vegas just came out.
Okay. Now, one other thing that I wanted is, because I know that they have like a weed that's technically hemp that they sell. And I know that if you ever are on the strip and you see a dispensary, they sell that doesn't really have THC in it. So I'm surprised that they haven't even been able to get a lounge open that like specializes in that. So
Yeah.
it's shocking to me that they don't have anything yet.
Well, for me, I follow it as closely as I can. I'm going to make this crazy disclosure here. I've never tried it in my entire life, right? In my entire life, I've never tried it. So it's not something, if they were talking about opening a Budweiser lounge somewhere, then yeah, I'd be really into it. But they've already got those, right? They're called bars all over the place. But Budweiser, yes, Bud, no, as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
Well,
Probably better that way.
I just had a question on what is actually the Cannabis Lounge? Are they going to sell it there too, or you just go there to smoke it only?
Well, they're going to be most of them are going to be affiliated with the dispensary, so they're going to be adjoining. So literally,
Okay.
not all of them though. And they're talking about making these things into, I mean, like really cool, like bars and lounges, where they're going to have entertainment. They're going to have, of course, they're going to have TVs and all that. They're going to have pool tables. They're going to have, all kinds of stuff. And now, I think they're not allowed to sell all alcohol at those, but I'm not sure about that. But these things are going to be tricked out joints where you can go next door and buy or to the adjoining place and buy whatever you want, and then you can consume it in the lounge.
And I assume that it should be able to be like, because I know you go to a fancy restaurant, you can bring a bottle of wine and you bring your own wine and you pay a corking fee. So maybe they'll do something like that too.
Maybe in the places that don't sell it, I can't imagine they would charge an additional fee if you just bought it from them. But I mean, bring that up too. They're talking about restaurants and everything. Of course, they're going to have the munchie thing over in the side. But they're talking about actually some fine dining type stuff and all. So it remains to be seen. When it happens, I think it's going to be significant. It's just when it's going to happen.
I wanted to ask about this FontaineBleau. Matt, I had a question here about Cosmo, but I'll let you ask that one since you're more familiar with the place. But the FontaineBleau had opened since we last spoke, and from initial reports I was seeing it was not doing well. And then they fired a bunch of people, and there was some controversy going on there. And now I think they started a program to match tiers with the other players' clubs. So what's the deal with FontaineBleau?
Well, good for you. You pronounce it properly. FontaineBleau is really the way it's the French pronunciation, although nobody calls it that. Unless you could say fountain blows. I mean, it kind of does. But most people call it Fontainebleau around here. We wrote an LVA, right? It was, this place doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a hotel with some gambling, or does it want to be a casino with a great hotel? And they can't figure it out. And the crowds from all indications, both being there, personally seeing it and hearing it from a lot of others, are our customers and members who report, is that it is often not vacant, but without crowds. They done everything kind of backwards from the way you would expect a place to do. It's like they completely disregarded video poker. Video poker almost does not exist in that place. And what does exist is not much better than, a bar video poker thing. They've got 36 restaurants and lounges and bars. And of them, only one has bar tops and, bar top games. And that is the Tavern, which is the bar at the sports book. They just didn't care about video poker. They don't want video poker. And then you go to the blackjack games, and they've got some decent blackjack games in the high limit room starting at $500 minimums. And then you go out onto the floor where the best you're going to find is probably $25. You might be able to find a 15er, but mostly 25. And these are terrible rules. These are the 6 to 5s and all that kind of thing. It's just, it's the place is, it's ultra fancy. It's cool. It's beautiful, but I have no reason to go there. And I don't see why many people would, to be honest, the way they are right now. Yes, they did start the tier matching. They did tier matching for one day when they opened, and then they stopped it for whatever reason. And that's been one of their first moves to try to come back and, quote, be a.
I have a guest here who's excited about Las Vegas. My dog just jumped into my lap.
All right, so FontaineBleau on opening day, or when they opened, they had one day of tier matching, and then they decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And now they've brought it back, supposedly indefinitely. as part of their, quote, back to casino, because they've realized they have to do something. The other thing about Fontainebleau, right? The other thing about them is that they lost 4, 5, 6 top executives right prior to the opening and right after the opening. Within a month and a half, 2 had already left and 4 more at the top resigned. And the reason for that, the scuttlebutt on all of that, is that they weren't being listened to. And these were pretty well-respected casino people who apparently were getting stopped with their ideas for the casino, and they resigned. So, that's always a bad sign. And there are problems over there, that's for sure.
Oh, I thought they had been fired because of how poorly the opening went. It was the other way around.
You know what, nobody knows for sure unless you were there. You hear both, but the believable scuttlebutt is that they resigned, that they just were not being paid attention to by those who were the decision makers. Probably goes right to the top, the owner, and they left.
And I guess for those who aren't very well versed with this has been going on for what, 15, almost 20 years? I think the Fontainebleau was originally supposed to open right around the recession in what, 2008 or something, right?
Yeah,
and they ran out of money and it's been sitting there empty for 15 years.
Yeah, it's from the time it was announced is almost 20 years. And from the time it was supposed to open till now is about 15, 16 years, 17 years, I think.
That
So
makes me feel really old, because that happened right when I graduated high school. And I'm just now realizing I graduated high school 15 years ago as we're having this conversation.
Well, welcome to the club, man.
Well, now that's the same developer who did it before and it went bankrupt, is it not? Is it Sofer? Is it?
Yeah, Sofer from New York.
Yeah, and here in South Florida, he owns the Mardi Gras casino.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to transfer that license over to his Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, but no one wants them to do it. So there's a lot of there's a whole group of billionaires that live down here that are fighting it. So, but because he went to the legislature in Tallahassee and tried to get the state to allow him to move his license, but a lot of people locally went up there and objected to it, so they stopped it. But he's going to keep trying to move that license to that hotel. It would be the only one in Miami Beach. It would be a nightmare for traffic and stuff over there. But anyway, that's a side part to what's going on with Fontainebleau.
Well, he doesn't.
One last thing on Fontainebleau, which reminds me, is do they have a big nightclub presence? Because I know that's their main thing down here in Miami is they have the Live nightclub, which is like spearheaded the whole huge club scene over the last 20 years.
Yeah, there's a Live here as well.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So they've got the nightclub and they've got a showroom that they're gonna, they're hanging their hat on non-gambling. All of these fancy restaurants. They got a restaurant called Poppy or Pappy Steak, however you want to pronounce it, with $1,000 steak and $100 baked potato and all that stuff. And the steak comes delivered by a girl in a bikini or something with gold flakes on either the steak or the girl. I don't know. And it's just this crazy stuff that they're doing, but they're also trying to do it with the entertainment. And one thing they do have, they have a bar called the Nowhere Bar, and I didn't even know it was there. Somebody had to tell me. It's almost like it's nowhere. It's up on the second floor behind everything. It's a cool jazz club. It's really cool. It's like something I haven't seen in Vegas for a long time. So I won't bang on them completely. This Nowhere Bar Jazz Club is great. I went in there. I think a Heineken was $10. Well, I guess that's what you expect, but it was terrific. The band's playing. It's a real upscale group of people, and I think the problems they're having there is they're trying to bring Miami Beach to the Strip, and it's just not translating.